Hey guys, so here we're going to factor completely number 22, 8a squared minus 6ab minus 9b squared. So first thing I'm going to do is rewrite this as 8a squared minus 6ba minus 9b squared. And when I relate this back to the form ax squared plus bx plus c, I can see that my a is 8, my b is negative 6b, and my c is negative 9b squared. So I'm going to use the grouping method to factor this, which is also called the AC method. And that's because the first thing we're going to do is get our A and our C and multiply them together. So 8 times negative 9b squared is negative 72b squared. So I'm going to try to find two numbers that multiply to make negative 72b squared, which are the factors. And then those two numbers will also have to add up to create this middle term, which is the b, which is negative 6b in this case. So let's go ahead and write out a few factors of negative 72b squared. So right off the bat, we're going to have negative 72b times 1b, positive 72b times negative 1b, negative 12b times 6b, positive 12b times negative 6b, negative 18b times 4b, positive 18b times negative 4b, and on and on and on. Okay, so let's see if any of the factors from there will work. If not, let's keep going. So let's ask ourselves if we have any factors that also add to make negative 6b. Well, the answer is yes. We actually have right over here negative 12b, and then 6b will add up to make negative 6b. So this part right here, where we wrote down all the factors, this might take a little bit of time, but it's okay. You don't have to know these factors right off the bat. I recommend just going into your calculator and putting in 72 divided by 4, see what happens, divided by 2, see what happens, divided by 6, divided by 7, 8, and then just writing down all the factors. And then from those factors, seeing if you can see which one is the correct one to use. If not, just keep going. But don't worry if this is taking a while. It might take a while if this number is bigger. So here we're going to write negative 12b and 6b, and negative 12b and 6b. Let's go ahead and check one more time if that works. Negative 12b times 6b equals negative 72b squared, and then when that adds, it makes negative 6b. So those are our factors. All right, now I'm going to rewrite my expression. But instead of writing this middle term, negative 6ba, I'm going to write negative 12ba and then positive 6ba. The negative 12b and the 6b come from this, and then we also have to add on that extra a in the middle here. Okay, and then I'm going to bring down my negative 9b squared. Now I have 4 terms, and I'm going to factor by grouping. So to factor by grouping, I'm taking the GCF out of the first 2 terms, which in this case is 4a, leaving me with 2a minus 3b. And then I'm taking my GCF out of the next 2 terms, which in this case is positive 3b, leaving me with 2a minus 3b. Now, since the factor here and the factor here are the same, I'm going to take that out as my GCF, leaving me with 4a plus 3b. Okay, and my answer is 2a minus 3b times 4a plus 3b. Okay, now in order to prove to yourself that that's right, you can always just go ahead and FOIL that out or distribute. And if you get this after you FOILed and distributed, then you know you have the right answer. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's multiply 2a times 4a, which is 8a squared. We're off to a good start. 2a times 3b, which is 6ab. And then negative 3b times positive 4a is negative 12ab. And then negative 3b times 3b is negative 9b squared. When I bring these two together, that makes negative 6ab. And I bring everything else down, and it looks like I have the same as my question over here, which means I'm 100% sure now that this is the answer.